Well, good morning, everyone. Tuesday is primary day here in Massachusetts. Many important primary elections are on your ballot if you haven't cast it already. The headliner, of course, is the U.S. Senate race. Over the last couple of weeks, we reached out to both the Markey and Kennedy campaigns and offered them a chance for one final interview. The Markey campaign, citing scheduling conflicts, declined, but Congressman Kennedy accepted, and he joins us now. Congressman, welcome.
John, pleasure to be with you. Thanks for having me.
So if you were in the Senate right now, what would you be doing to promote the battle against the coronavirus that Senator Markey is not doing?
John, I think a couple of things. One is ensuring that the resources that communities need in order to be able to safely recover, that those were going to actually be delivered. Remember, out of the HEROES Act, a bill that the House of Representatives now passed literally months ago, there's not only $1 trillion for states and municipalities, there's an additional $150 billion for schools, and we're trying to up that number again. John, the single biggest issue I hear across the Commonwealth is concerns from families about whether their kids are going to be able to go back to school, whether it is safe for them to go back to school, and the concerns that parents have about their children's education, about if they're not safe there, about how they're supposed to be able to go to work and to pay their mortgage or their rent, and how all of this is actually supposed to come together. The federal government has the ability to actually provide those resources, to provide some clarity and certainty there, and they haven't. The Senate has to act, and I don't think the senator has given that advocacy what's due.
Well, give me a specific example of a type of a specific act you'd be taking that you don't believe he is.
So, John, the way in which, as you know, the biggest disagreement between the difference between the senator and I is literally the way we define the job. And so I don't think it's enough to say, hey, I signed on to the right bill, I voted the right way, that's enough, I did my job. You have to go out there and advocate using all of the powers that come with the platform of being the United States Senator. And so whether that's advocating around our Commonwealth so that people understand exactly what you're listening to, exactly what they need, and including those provisions in that legislation. You're fighting for them across the country and fighting for the change that we need. And one big concrete thing here, the reason why the House was able to pass now the CARES Act and the HEROES Act to provide trillions of dollars of assistance was that we were able to reclaim control of the chamber. As you know, I was in nearly 20 states campaigning for dozens of other candidates that enabled us to take the House back. Senator Markey was in literally zero. And so when we talk about, well, what's different, what would you be doing now versus then, the parts of this is a timing issue that we lost that fight in the Senate to help craft and drive the dynamics of that rescue package months ago, well, now years ago, when we needed the senator to use the power and the platform of that voice in that position. And he literally did nothing. And I don't think that's acceptable.
Well, one issue that has come up in this race that your campaign has raised about Senator Markey's performance has to do with the way he handles constituents like the Henry family from Easton. And Dan Roy Henry, father of the slain college student, made a video describing a meeting he and his wife had with Senator Markey in which they felt they were brushed off. And also claiming that during the course of the meeting, the senator referred to Black people as colored people. Do you believe Markey used the word colored?
I have known the Henry family for years, John, and I have never had any reason to doubt their veracity or sincerity. And I think it is really important, particularly in this moment, that we listen to their truth and to their story. Because I think for far too long, what we've seen is particularly white people in power dismiss that story, dismiss the history and experience, and try to wash it away. I have no reason to doubt what Dan and Angela have said is true.
Okay, so what does that tell us about Ed Markey, in your view?
I think when you look at, I think it tells you two things, John. So first is, when a mom and dad came to ask for help from a United States senator in seeking justice for their murdered son, killed in horrifying circumstances by a white police officer, the senator literally did nothing. His actions that he proclaimed in the debate we had, as you know, was to sign on to a letter that I wrote. I don't think you can claim to be at the center of a racial justice movement. And when you had the opportunity to help a grieving family, that you did nothing. And I think when you look back at his history on racial justice, whether it was his opposition to the desegregation of Boston public schools, in the 1980s, he actually voted with Bob Jones University to allow a prohibition of interracial relationships on campus, to bar interracial relationships. Or support for the 1994 crime bill. I don't think that this is a senator that at this moment has the history on racial justice that that we need.
Are you claiming he's a racist?
I don't believe Senator Markey is a racist, John. No, I don't think that the record that he has shown, look, you hope to serve in times of consequence in this job. Senator Markey has served in times of consequence, particularly when it comes to racial justice, and he's been on the wrong side over and over again. And I think that's important given the importance of this moment and what it shows, that in order to get through it, it's not just enough to legislate on racial justice. An economic recovery bill is a racial justice bill. A transportation bill is a racial justice bill. A healthcare bill has to be a racial justice bill. And what we've seen is a lack of awareness and commitment from the senator on those topics.
All right. On that note, let's take our break, and we'll continue our conversation with Congressman Joe Kennedy, candidate for the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate on your Tuesday primary ballot, in just a moment. Please stay with us.